Hey, today we're here with Andrea Lopez, who we met just back a month or so ago. And I was intrigued by the work that you do, Andrea, and your own personal story. And I thought we'd get you to tell your story to our community. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much for the opportunity to having me here.
And I'm my co host and the person I report directly to, Lisa Sabata, is here with us today. So we're looking forward to a nice conversation with you. Why don't we start off with telling us a little bit about you personally, where you're from, uh, where you've gone to school?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from Ecuador, a little country in South America. I moved to the United States maybe 12 or 13 years ago for college,
Mhm.
and then I stayed here. I went to the same school you went,
Yes.
CUNY John Jay, Criminal Justice.
Uh-huh.
I did 5 years of career in forensic science and molecular biology, and then I moved into medical research and now industry.
And, where in Ecuador did you live?
In Ecuador, in Quito, in
Uh,
the capital.
How did you like, John Jay? I hear stories from Jim, but I've never
See,
heard
when I
anybody
went to
else's
John Jay, she
perspective.
wasn't even a glimmer in a parent's eyes, so it was a very different place, but now it's a beautiful facility.
I love that. Like the professors, the groups and students that you have through all the classes and the opportunities to explore different areas of, as you see, like it's known for criminal justice, but here I am doing molecular biology. So it opens opportunities that you never knew because of the interested people that teach and go to the school.
Any teachers in particular that stood out to you? I know, Jim, you have a story about a
Mm,
a a particular professor that made an impression on you.
indeed. How about you, Andrea?
Yes, absolutely. So, one of my first Biology 101 professors, Dr. Nathan Lentz, I don't know if he'll ever listen to the podcast, but he has been inspiration and actually one of the people that believe that I could do something with science. So it was since my first semester, and he's the same professor I did my internship or later hours of research to get my degree.
And you never know, the professor might hear this story,
Yeah.
right, Jay? Tell us about, your professor and how she actually ended up hearing a story about Jim.
Well, it's a long story. I'll make it a shorter version. So my, favorite professor of all time was, is a professor emeritus now at John Jay. Her name is Blanche Cook. And Blanche is a historian and expert on the Constitution. She wrote a several-part series on Eleanor Roosevelt. She's just a wonderful and wacky and very nice person, and she had a big impact on my life. And we've stayed connected for a long time. But recently, I had the privilege of being the commencement speaker at St. John's University in Queens this past May. And I mentioned Blanche in my remarks as a way of urging the students there who were graduating that day to not make the mistake I made, which was to not tell Blanche for probably 25 years after I graduated what an impression she made on me until I told the story in a small group setting out west. And one of the people in the group said, "Are you by any chance talking about Blanche Cook?" And I was like startled. And she said Blanche was one of her good friends. I said, "Yes, indeed, I am." And then she asked me if I had ever told Blanche that story, and I hadn't. So I corrected it. I made right, and we've reconnected, and we've been friends ever since. And I told that story at the commencement at St. John's to inspire and incite students there to say, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, you'll run into a professor, but don't make it an accident. Sit down and jot them a note about the impact they had on you. And I said, and while I was doing that address, someone in the audience knew Blanche and texted her to tell him, Jim's telling a story about you on stage right now. So when I come off stage, my phone's ringing, Blanche thanking me. So I hope you thanked that professor at Biology
I
101.
I haven't, but I will.
Okay,
You
we
mentioned the
have your
story.
commitment.
Jim
Yes,
inspired
he
you.
doesn't know, but he will know now.
So you go to John Jay. What was your first professional role in the sciences?
With Dr. Nathan Lentz in his lab. It like my major requires like 400 hours of research before you go into the world. So he gave me the opportunity to be in his lab, and he told me like the very beginner techniques of molecular biology and DNA cloning. And then with that, I went into Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center on the Upper East Side.
So you specialize in uppers, although I know you get below upper when we get to NYU Langone Health because you had to go downtown a little bit for them. So growing up, did you expect that the sciences would be your career?
I did. Funny enough, I did. I knew since a very young age. I say that I have it in the genes because of my dad's family. All my dad's family are doctors specializing in nuclear medicine. So I was always surrounded by the talks about medicine and how to help patients and these molecules that somehow did something into the patients. And since a
So,
very young age, I knew.
so dinner tables, holiday gatherings, the whole family's talking about medicine, science, patient care.
Most likely, yes. Aside from other things, but since most of the family were doctors, they will just discuss their cases or their day-to-day activities. And I actually have a funny story of why in my younger age, I was like 6, 7 years old, of like what my idea of being in medicine and science was, because my grandfather was already at the peak of his career.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the privilege of going back home, having lunch with the family, and then taking a short little nap before going back to the hospital at 3 p.m. So me and my kid brain, I was like, that's an amazing profession. I can go
You
home,
get to
have
take
lunch,
a
and
nap.
take a nap.
So you work with Dr. Lentz. Take us through your career path.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Memorial Sloan, I was given the opportunity to join the laboratory of Dr. Rainier Brandgens. He is now known as one of the pioneers of CAR T-cell therapy. So I work in the lab. I started very basic, just managing the patient samples of the clinical trials that would lead into CAR T-cell therapy.
I don't know what any of that is. Can you explain
CAR T-cell therapy.
to the people who aren't in that world, what does that entail?
Yeah, absolutely. So CAR T-cell therapy, it's a very complex set of words. Our abbreviation is chimeric antigen receptor, T-cell therapy. What it means is that we take the fighters in the body, so the white blood cells, and then we take the T cells specifically, which are the ones responsible of fighting illnesses like cancer.
Mm-hmm.
We genetically modify them, and we put them back into the body of the patient so they can go fight only the cancer cells.
And do you tune that and dial that for specific types of cancers?
Yes, every type of cancer will have a different target. Just because of the biology or complex biology of cancer, it's not one target can't work on everything. So multiple cancers can work with a similar target, but from, I will say, just as an example, like solid tumor versus blood cancers, you need to modify that receptor.
Do you have to modify it for the individual or no, because you're working with their cells specifically?
So no for the individual, just for the type of cancer. Because you're working with the cells of the individual is already personalized treatment.
And when you're working in a lab, I assume that the team each has specific functions that are different from one another. And how many of those different functions have you rotated through?
I was fortunate enough that my mentors have given me the opportunity to rotate in all of them.
Mm.
So I learned the whole process. I took every opportunity I got. If someone wanted to teach me something, I was the first one there. So I was able to see the whole process from planning to making it to in vitro to in vivo to then clinical trials.
Tell me, I can't help but jump ahead. I was going to save this for later in our conversation. But how is AI changing your world?
It's just helping us analyze data faster.
Mm.
So the data sets that AI can analyze compared to what I could probably do if I sit in the computer and put it into a program, like what will take me weeks can take AI hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the benefit. Now,
So everything's faster.
Yes, everything is faster. As to like, you asked me about changing or modifying specifically for the type of cancers, AI can make it easier to identify those targets for faster.
Yeah.
The work itself is very manual. As you hear, we have to take the cells from the patient and then manipulate them and then put it back in. So as to doing the job that we will do as a scientist, it's not there yet.
I'd have to believe that we're on the doorstep of some amazing changes in cell and immunotherapy. But first, tell us what the difference is between cell therapy and immunotherapy.
So cell therapy is designed for immunotherapy. However, cell therapy can be designed for different types of cells. So within the realm of cell therapy, there's therapy that focuses on T cells. There is therapy that focuses on B cells, natural killers, dendritic cells, and it's referring of what cell you're modified in order to get the therapy. So immunotherapy, in a sense, encompasses cell therapy, or cell therapy is used for immunotherapy. Immunotherapy just goes into like a very specific immune disease
Yes.
or an illness that affects or is caused by your immune system.
But you do hear about using immunotherapy to battle cancers by energizing your own immune system to do its natural work. It may be weakened or it may be overwhelmed by a particular cancer, a solid cancer or a blood cancer. So what is it you do to stimulate an individual's own immunosystem to be able to fight harder and better?
So in our case, we modify the cells to give them that target. In other treatments,
So they're not going elsewhere. They're going after a specific cell.
yes, just the cancer. So a difference of chemotherapy or radiology
You kill
that
all the
affects the
cells.
whole body,
Yeah.
takes everything out. The cell therapy just focuses on targeting those specific cells. So
And
it
it-
goes in the body and opposed to killing everything, just kills the cancer cells.
And I assume they're used in conjunction. So if you have breast cancer and you get treated with radiation, and then there's an oncology follow-up, say you've had surgery, is there then an immunotherapy follow-up as well?
There could be. It depends. In an ideal world, immunotherapy will get into being first line of treatment. It's not there at the moment. It has been approved for second line or third line of treatment, which
Yes.
means that either one or two treatments have to fail before you get actually seen by a prescriber or the prescriber will take the route of immunotherapy. However, they are used in conjunction because sometimes one works and the other one doesn't, or vice versa.
Yeah, I would guess stage of cancer has a big influence on which treatment first.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
if it's a later stage, a stage 3 or 4, you don't have the luxury of time to see if immunotherapy works because you're too far down the path.
Or you're short on time. What we've seen sometimes is that some of the immunotherapies or CAR T cell therapies have a process designed where you collect the cells at a certain stage and then you can freeze them for future use. So if your doctor analyzes your case and he sees that maybe it's an aggressive type of cancer or cancer that might progress into needing cell therapy, they have those, I will say, like kind of healthier cells
Yes.
frozen to use when needed.
There's nothing sweeter than a summer bursting with fun and flavor. Make a big splash at your pool party with fresh fruit from Harry and David.
You've had a terrific career so far, but you're young. What's happened in your career that surprised you so far? What advances have happened just in your relatively short career?
Absolutely. I will say I will stick to CAR T cells. 10, 15, or 20 years ago, people didn't believe in it. It was an experiment in a lab of someone that had an idea that might work. So the system used for CAR T cells was previously tested for HIV, and that was the disease that was actually being experimented on. One brilliant creative innovator had the idea that if it works in that immune illness or disease, how can it be improved to work in different diseases? And people are a little reluctant to change. So people didn't believe in it. And years later, I will say a lot of research, a lot of improvement, a lot of trials and errors, it has helped millions of people globally.
What's the next step from there? Or
Mm.
is it other diseases? Is it, continuous research? Where do you hope that you go, knowing that within the last 10 years you've had such a huge success rate?
So I will say there is always room for improvement. They are always things that can be better within the same molecule or the same treatment. And because of the nature of the treatment, there are actually companies that are exploring the use of CAR T cells for other diseases like lupus, Crohn's disease, anything that is like your own immune system attacking the body and that the disease is controlled by either T cells or B cells. So I see it helping more people and helping more uncurable diseases and bringing hope where patients did not have hope before.
Andrea, you're at the prime of your career. What is something you wish you had studied that would be helping you that you didn't have a chance to?
Oh, that's a really good question. Um, I will say that I focus solely on science, so solely on studying the biology, human physiology, and metabolic pathways of the body. And I will actually focus a few of my classes in drug development. So, how things work in the real world once you get out of the lab.
I was watching a YouTube video of a podcast, a fellow I'm a fan of, not just because he's from Queens like me, but because he's a terrific communicator and a physician. His name is Dr. Mark Hyman. And he had two doctors on, Dr. Dorsey and Dr. Quinn, who are both really, really expert in Parkinson's disease. And I found it fascinating. I was actually running late to get to my train the other morning because I was watching it and then listening to it in the car on the way to the train station. And it was just fascinating about how Parkinson's has become so much more prevalent and how they are sure that it's environmental. And everyone thought Parkinson's, which is they described not just as a brain disease, but a whole body disease. They even argue that it likely has a great connection to gut disorders. But they talked about the impact of pesticides and industrial chemicals. They talked about, this will be a little shocking to you too, Lise, if you live near or on a golf course, you are 600% more likely to develop Parkinson than someone who lives 6 to 8 miles away from that golf course. Speculating that the chemicals they use on the golf course to keep the grass green and mold away at all, and spray it, that it's in the air, that it's terribly toxic. And so I think about when I get to play golf and I see a friend who decides he's going to smoke a cigar, and he tosses the cigar on the ground while he hits his tee shot, then picks it back up and sticks it in his mouth. I don't know that I can. I think I might tackle him the next time I see that happen, having heard these two amazing researchers talk about the source and exposures. In your work, do you get to speculate on causation, what's contributing to increases in certain kinds of cancers? Is there speculation among your clinicians and your researchers there about lifestyle and how it contributes to these diseases you're fighting in the lab and in the hospital?
Yeah, absolutely. So they are a specific teams dedicated to do that research. I haven't been lucky enough to participate on the research, but there is always news, say, about, oh, this chemical used in this product is now considered carcinogen because there's been enough research to show that it has a correlation with cancer. And there are multiple groups across academic and pharmaceutical companies that specialize their research into how where we live, what we eat, and what we do can affect or make us more cancer prone or not. I just haven't been lucky enough to be part of those or analyze that data, so I'm not the right person to give any insights. But there are teams that dedicate their whole career to that.
How has working in the sciences affected your lifestyle choices?
Oh, that's really interesting. I will say that not necessarily life choices. I am more wary, or I look more at the ingredient label when I go grocery shopping. But it makes you way more organized. So basically, life is a whole protocol, and you have checklists for everything. Like you're cooking, I organize my cooking
Are you
ingredients.
organized in and out of the lab?
Yes.
When you see the patient and their family, and you know you're working toward helping them with a cure, it just seems like it would put a little bit more weight on your shoulders as you walk back to the lab.
That absolutely. Even when you are just like picking up a call at home or updating a document for a hospital, the fact that you know that behind every step that you do, there is a life at the end of that, it makes it so significant. It's just a reminder of sometimes you're like, oh, this is like the 20th email about this case. And you're like, wait, but this is because a life is behind that email. So it just brings you back to ground of to why we do what we do.
What's on your checklist? We know you're a checklist queen. What's on your checklist next for your career?
For my career, I do want to explore different education levels. So I do see myself doing more leadership courses and the possibility of an MBA, just because my career has transitioned more into the operations and administration and business area of the industry. So that will be on my checklist. And then there's always room for learning. And I just started being part of leadership positions. So I do believe that you can always be a better leader if you invest in yourself. Like the more you take care of yourself, the more you can take care of others.
Is there a leader that you want to mimic as like, this person had, in the job setting a huge effect on me, and these were the aspects that really made that successful for you to perform, that you want to take that and use that as an example in your own leadership?
Oh, absolutely. There are a few, including Dr. Brengens at Memorial Sloan. He was my first PI or first leader. He is such a humble, so accomplishment person and so down to earth. He will come to the lab and tell us the stories, but he just came from being in the news, telling people about his discoveries. And the amount of opportunities he gave his team to be part of this big CAR T-cell project. Just believing in your team and giving people opportunities, it's part of, I think, a great leader. And then throughout my whole careers, I've had great managers and directors. But I will say all of them had believed in myself when I didn't believe in myself, or they saw characteristics in me that I didn't see in myself. One of the examples is our head in the US, Valerie Sirani or Val Sirani at the company I'm at right now. She was the one that actually kind of gave me the advice to go for the director role when I was just a year in the company. I never imagined that within a year of experience, I was going to get promoted already. But she believed in me. My coworkers believed in me. So I take that deeply in my heart to when I lead teams, just believe in them. And if you see things that they don't see in themselves, just help them. Help them achieve that greatness or empower them to be who they're meant to be.
I love that. So you're treating patients that will potentially cure diseases. What is the one thing that you would like to work on? If you can do anything, right? Job doesn't matter. What would you like to work on yourself?
Oh, myself. If it wasn't science, I love cooking. So I will love to work more into baking. Believe it or not, John Jay has a class called Chemistry of Cooking, which is part of our science.
No,
Yeah.
I took the chemistry of ordering.
So I love to cook. And as I mentioned before, like cooking is just like a big experiment. So So I will love
Just
to
other
explore that
ingredients.
more. Yes.
Another laboratory.
Different ingredients, different reactions, but it is still to help people and make them happy through food. But I would love to explore that more. In the scientific area, it's not in my power, unfortunately, but I would love to get these immunotherapies or cell therapies for first-line treatment. So
Mm.
patients don't have to wait for failed treatment to try something
Or
that can
go through
actually
the
help them.
agony of surgery or radiation or oncology. Yes, oncology. Tell me, what do you think people who aren't in the sciences underestimate about what's going on in your world?
Timelines. How long it takes to put from one idea to actually a patient. Timelines, and also the misconception that we're hiding the secret formula in our back pocket. I just don't want to give it. I have it in my back pocket. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of weekends, a lot of long hours um, in the bench work. Then it takes clinic time. Then, the approvals through the FDA, which can take years.
And lots of
Um,
money.
and lots of money and trials and errors and modifications and audits. So it's just the timeline of how long things take
Mhm.
from bench work to patient.
And it's obviously very frustrating for families who say, "Oh, you have it. Just let's not wait for the approvals. We're desperate. We'll take it now." I can't.
No, we cannot, because then we'll be in a lot of trouble.
Mhm. If you were back in John Jay today, what other class besides the chemistry of cooking would you like to take that you didn't?
That I didn't. I In my major, you were able to take 3 pathways. So criminal justice, toxicology, or molecular biology. I would love to explore toxicology a little bit more to understand more about actually how, from what I do, how they're actually made bigger at a bigger scale. So toxicology will probably be one of the classes that I didn't take that I wish I could
Mhm.
take.
Ever a thought of becoming a police person?
Um, Funny enough, once upon a time, not a police, but with forensic science, it's inevitable to
Mm,
think about CSI,
yes.
and we all watched the show. Yeah, we all watched the show. We all wanted to be a CSI agent.
Uh-huh,
So there was a part of me at the beginning that, with forensic science,
uh-huh.
saw the possibility of working in the NYPD lab.
Yep.
Um, but I just the medical part and the research pulled me a little bit harder that way.
So, your advice to students back there at John Jay or any other, college or university that's studying in the sciences, what advice do you have to them as we're on the precipice of dramatic changes as a result of AI? What advice do you have for them in terms of things they should sharpen their skills on or be prepared for? Because the worlds you work in are going to change in some dramatic way, I just don't know how.
Yeah. I will say do a little bit of data analytics or data science analysis.
Mhm,
That was not part of our curriculum, or computer science. It's definitely going to be useful in the future. But a more general advice is take every opportunity that comes to you. If someone is willing enough to give you time and energy to teach you things or to offer you an opportunity, just take it. You never know where it's going to take you.
Well, I heard a prediction in the last week. I saw Elon Musk being interviewed, and the question was, Optimus, the discovery lab that he has that's producing these new amazing robots, how long before they are at least as proficient as a good surgeon? And he went a little further to say within 2 years, at scale, those robotic surgeons will be better than the best surgeons around today, within 2 years, at scale. Does that sound possible to you?
I, I mean, anything is possible. I'm not going to say no. But from my perspective,
Mhm.
I just don't see how in 2 years a robot with not the same mobility that we have in the fingers, how can they master skills that surgeons have taken years into mastering, especially for like, I don't know, like brain surgery or spinal cord surgery? Um, the mechanisms are completely different. And then the reaction time, if something goes wrong,
Mhm.
doctors or surgeons train for over 20, 25 years or 30 years of experience to know how to react in those situations. I don't know how will that translate into a robot,
It's
actually.
amazing because the next thing he said was, "And the diagnostics will be free." That's I think things are gonna change so dramatic. I just don't know how. So you seek out people like you who work in the fields and have an insight into what can change, what needs to change, but certainly it seems like change, it is a-coming. So let me, conclude with asking you, back in Quito, how proud is that family of you?
Oh, a lot. My parents and my mom that had supported me through my whole career by I'm the only child, so they let their only child go away from home
That's
to
tough.
follow her dream. They're really proud. And then the latest or proudest moment that I will say they had is because of keeping these relationships. I even keep a relationship with my pediatrician, which was one of the first people that actually taught me that doctors should be doctors and not prescribers.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I go back and thank him for giving me the opportunity to learn from him, and I still talk to him.
Mhm.
So last time I went to Ecuador, I visit him and I told him where I was, what am I doing, and he postulated me for a government award because of my growth in my career and my contributions to the field of science. And I was selected and I got the national award by
How
the
nice.
assembly.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
See the importance
Uh,
of managing those relationships, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it just took one little of like picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, I'm visiting. Can I come say hi?" And he works at the same office in the same building
Uh-huh.
that I was born. So
Mhm.
it's yeah, and um my mom received the award on my behalf. I couldn't go back home at the time because of work commitments, and um, I remember, like, my mom telling me, like, she texted me and she's like, "I'm so proud of you, and I wish I will be as brave as you one day," because it takes a lot of bravery to leave your home
Sure.
to follow your dreams.
Of course.
So they're incredibly proud, to say the least.
And, last bit of advice, is a junior at, John Jay College, and she's studying sciences, and she's not sure. She hears it's tougher and tougher to find that first job. What advice do you have for her in that last year of school that she has?
Don't give up and go big or go home. Like, I know that big pharma names or big hospital names are scary, and you might hear that, oh, they only get students that went to Ivy Leagues, or they only take students that know someone. Just keep trying.
Mhm.
Someone is going to look at your CV and believe in you the way someone believed in me, and it's going to bring you in. And when that opportunity comes, just take it.
Thank you, Andrea Lopez. You're a great role model, and, the people at John Jay are gonna wanna, embrace you and make sure you maintain a relationship with them too.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Lisa. It was great meeting you today. Thank you for the opportunity.
Our
Nice meeting
pleasure.
you.
Thanks,
Good
Lisa.
luck.